Mr. Rao, you are pretty active on Twitter and a host of other social media applications and platforms, right? According to you, how has social media, impacting knowledge management practices?
Yeah, I would say there's been a lot of buzz and maybe even a lot of hype about social media, but I would say overall it has been a very good thing for the knowledge movement. Some people even say it's a threat to the knowledge movement, but I think it's perfectly fine. KM needs social media adds a lot of value to the vision and mission and activities of knowledge management. I'll give you 3 simple examples. Let's take the 3 different kinds of social media. One is the archival sort of reference kind of social media.
Okay.
So Wiki is a good example, the Wikipedia model. Everyone bottom up dumps, throws, ranks, rates, validates knowledge on Wikipedia.
Right.
Now I'm seeing many companies using wikis internally. So a wiki for project management is becoming a very popular use of that kind of social media, where anybody involved in the project or in past projects can throw in documents, can tag past assessments, can throw in audio, video, all that stuff. So as the project is evolving, you can have all kinds of multimedia documents correlated through that one wiki object. So whereas in the past you had very rigid tools for enterprise project management, etc., now you have a much more fluid, intuitive, easy to use tool like the wiki. So I'm seeing wiki-based project management taking off like a rocket in many companies. The second would be a bit more of the LinkedIn, Facebook variety, which is a bit more of who am I, what are things that are about me that people would like to know. Here are some of my favorite photos, books, videos, all that stuff. So that's becoming a very good tool within companies for discovering connections between employees, doing fun things like events for book fans, events for skiers, events for backpackers, bikers, all that stuff. Also professionally it can be very serious. One case study I remember is there was one company trying to market some product or pitch some product to one client. And they sent an email circulating within the company saying, here are 3 guys who we must influence somehow. Is there anybody in this company who has any connection whatsoever to any of these 3 guys? And it turned out that one guy in tech support knew one of these 3 guys because they were classmates in college. Okay. Another guy knew one of these 3 guys because they were neighbors in the place where they were living. So they were then told, hey, just go politely and tell them I'm working for this company, by the way, we want to pitch this thing to you, can we get some business from you guys? So that's a very good example of using social media for relationship capital, finding out who is involved and how to bring them all together, etc. Especially when you join a big company for the first time and you're one of 3,000 employees and you have no idea who's there other than your immediate colleagues. You meet some people randomly over coffee, lunch, dinner, etc. But you can use social media very powerfully to build up connections and bonds between alumni, between music fans, between football fans towards the World Cup, whatever, stuff like that. So formally and informally, this linking network kind of social media is working very well. The third kind is narrative social media. This is where Twitter becomes very important. Twitter is a narrative social media because narrative is how you talk, how you tell stories, how you talk about what you're doing, how you crack jokes, very witty, pithy one-liners. So that's the beauty of Twitter. You must learn how to say whatever you have to say really quickly and briefly. So Twitter is becoming a very important part also of knowledge management because it allows people on the fly to talk about links that they've seen which are relevant to what they're doing now, how they feel about what they're doing right now, whether it's a good day, whether the client sucks, or this new tool is terrific, or this project can never be finished on time, ouch. All these kinds of things, feeling the emotional part, comfort very well in narratives. So blogs and especially Twitter, and Twitter also has an enterprise variant called Yammer. I'm seeing this being used very heavily in companies. Now many companies are trying to train project managers to be good bloggers. They're trying to train their expertise, their experts to become good tweeters and tweet links about things as they develop, etc. So Twitter is a very good way of sharing links, updates, feelings about what's going through your mind right now as you're doing a certain project, etc. And all these 3 together fit in very well because if you look at some philosophies and theories of knowledge management, one which comes to mind is by this guy called Max Boyson. I think he's a French or Belgian character. And what he says is knowledge is of 3 kinds. One is what's going on in your head as you do something. What am I thinking? What am I processing? What am I learning? What am I unlearning? Etc. A lot of it is subconscious. You can't pull that out in a game interview or things like that sort. The second part of knowledge is what is it about what I'm doing that I can talk about, that I can write about, that I can speak about. That is why Twitter, etc. become very important. As you're doing something over the course of an hour or 2, you start giving a few brief tweets about what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, etc. And the third part of knowledge management is when I go back and look at all that I've done, can I condense that into a nice structured document, into a case study, into a recommendation document, a book, something like that sort. So all these three fit in very well with what social media has to offer. And now it's free, it's open source, it's available everywhere, the buzz is there, the kids like it, the mobile guys like it, you can do Twitter through SMS now, all that stuff. So it's becoming ubiquitous now. So social media has taken on a whole life by itself. What's interesting is bits and pieces of social media have been around for a long time. Wiki's been around for many years, blogging was there for maybe 10 years at least, tweeting for about 3 years. Then about 4-5 years back, people began to talk about Web 2.0 and all that stuff. But now all of that is collapsed under this one term, social media, which is people-to-people publishing, people-to-people ranking, people-to-people tagging, forwarding, and ultimately narrative. That's blogging, tweeting, etc. So I think all of these are adding a very good component to the explicit part of knowledge management. It makes it that much easier to make things explicit. And then when you add a search engine on top of that, when you add editors on top of that, you get fantastic pieces of value. I know, for instance, many conferences have free Wi-Fi during the event, not just conferences, even internal meetings at the company. You can have free Wi-Fi or internal Wi-Fi and ask people to tweet and invite people from all over the world to look at the tweets and then join in that conversation. So in real time, you can share knowledge, mobilize knowledge, and gather knowledge from people from around the world. So I'm saying this is an absolutely phenomenal event of our time. Challenges are, some of it can be distracting. Many companies think the Facebook kind of social media is too distracting because you start looking at people and hobbies and photos and you get distracted from work. But actually the wiki part and the narrative part, the blogging and tweeting part, that's extremely relevant and that's right by what companies want. So I think the sweet spot is wiki and blogging, microblogging, and the part which you're going to wrestle with a little bit more, you're going to have some discipline, etc. That's the Facebook kind of.
Interesting.